Welcome to your energy update with the angels. I'm Devon, Duerr, angel intuitive and spiritual teacher. You are very welcome here. The overall energy right now is bringing in the end of a difficult situation. What has been really challenging for you? That's getting ready to clear. And we're going to dive deeper into this guidance. But first, I want to offer you a pocket affirmation to write in the comments below this video to affirm this guidance and open up to it. The pocket affirmation we're going to start off with today is positive changes are coming for me now. Positive changes are coming for me now. Write that in the comments below to activate this guidance because that is a huge thing on the horizon. And the angels see that this is what we've been waiting for. We've been really wanting to get to the end of something that's been really challenging. And so the key thing here they're bringing up, first of all, is to make sure that we are actually expecting things to get better. Expect things to get better. We don't want to be stuck in a negative mindset saying this is never going to end. Will this ever end? It's always something. That kind of mentality is going to only block us from things getting better. They do see where you felt very challenged lately to be able to give birth to your dreams, to really embrace where you want to go. Probably because you're having to deal with somebody else is needing your care, but make sure you're also nurturing yourself first. We do have to make sure our energy is at peak levels. We're taking care of our health. We're taking care of anything that we need for ourselves first before we're going to be able to really show up for someone else. But it could also be that there is a relationship you need to nurture a little bit in order for it to get better, in order for it to go to the next level. So we'll use the most common example, maybe a romantic relationship that's been a little bit on the edge lately, a spouse or somebody that you're in a relationship with, you want it to go to the new level, but it just feels blocked. It could need some nurturing. You may need to really spend that time together working on your communication. It could be a good idea to seek some couples counseling or a mentor, or it could be that you simply need to take that time together alone, away from all the hustle and bustle, away from all the stressful things. Have you had too much work on your plate and you aren't having time with your loved ones? Or do you know that you need to finish something for work in order to feel like you can really relax at the end of the day with your loved ones? I know that for me personally, I will have both things happen. Sometimes I will get really busy with work and I'll start to feel drained. And it's like, I really need to just spend more time hanging out with my kids, watching a movie and not worrying so much about getting ahead on something. And then I'll have the reverse happen where I'm sitting there trying to watch a movie with a loved one and I can't focus because I'm thinking about these emails that need to get out the door, right? So you'll know what that is for you, and just go easy on yourself. Don't overdo it with any of it, and it doesn't all have to happen at once. But that is a main thing here that the angels are saying. You're feeling challenged to both nurture yourself and others, and we have more guidance for you on how you can really bring that energy in there. But again, remembering to just expect things to get better. That there alone will help you with opening up that channel. Now, one of the things you may not be aware of is that you are a little bit underestimating your abilities. So there is something that you need to be very independent about with your creativity and really stepping into your authenticity. So what came to mind for you first when I said that you might be underestimating yourself? This is kind of one of those messages I believe we had in a recent video about the angels saying you're not really believing you're ready yet. And that's the same thing as underestimating yourself, right? So really step into your power, really invite it in. This is a great opportunity to work with your spiritual team, allow them to guide you on how you can step into your power in a bigger way and really embrace that inner magician that we all have within us. Again, you are here because you are a divine appointment. You are a light worker. You don't have to call yourself that, but you were born with spiritual gifts. And there is this opportunity here to really, really embrace that and shine your light brighter than ever. So where might you be underestimating yourself, and where can you add a lot more love and power for yourself there? Now, the angels want to commend you on the way you've been really focused lately. You've been really focusing on honoring your commitments, getting things done, channeling your passionate energy into something. Maybe you're channeling it into that relationship. Maybe you're channeling it into that book, that project, that goal of yours. Have you had a new health or fitness goal you've been really passionate about focusing on? They are so happy you are taking the time to do this for yourself. This is part of the nurturing. This is part of what's bringing an end to some kind of difficult situation and bringing good things in for you. So great job. They're applauding you. Give yourself credit. That's another thing that we forget to do a lot of the time is we forget to give ourselves credit for how hard we're working, or give ourselves credit for the fact that we've come a long way. We've learned a lot. It may have been painful. We may be looking back at some things and wondering, why didn't I realize that wasn't working? But that's what we want to stay out of, that energy of being negative to ourselves. Instead, we want to look at it as, okay, what did I learn from that? Where could I do things differently going forward? I'll give you an example for me personally where I've had working relationships that I kept expecting to get better or bring more success in. And I kept waiting for it to happen instead of taking the reins and going, you know what, this isn't working. I need this to change. I need to have this conversation. And I allowed it to go on too long, kind of on a wish and a prayer, so to speak, just hoping things would somehow change. And this is where they're wanting us to really take that power back and trust that, you know, we have the ability to tap into our higher self to get the information we need to know what are the best decisions to make going forward. So at the time you're hearing these messages, this is where they want you to be very objective with any decisions you are making. And again, look to see where you can find the humor in a situation. Like the example I just gave, it is kind of hilarious how I kept doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? That's what they say the definition of insanity is. But I mean, it wasn't something that was even on my radar that I was doing the same thing over and over again with this work project. So breaking out of that and realizing that, I am able to laugh at it now and go, geez, the power was in my hands all along to make that change. And I just kept basically ignoring it, kind of pretending that it wasn't an issue, just thinking it needed more time. And, you know, a lot of times there are things that need more time. There are things that need time to grow and hatch, but you should be seeing a little progress every day with something, a little progress in the way you treat yourself, a little progress in your relationships, a little progress with your health, if you're doing the things to focus on that and doing the things to nurture you. So what right now in your life do you need to make a decision about that you could be very objective, you can clear away what doesn't serve you, and you can see the humor in it? And maybe it's hard to see the humor in it right now, but you will be able to see the humor in it down the road if you take this action. And the reason they're focusing on that word objective is we don't want to do it from an overly emotional place, from that root chakra, fight or flight, from that overly excitable place. You know, a lot of times people use the word excited in a positive way, like I'm so excited for my vacation. But we have to also think about the fact that the word excited is kind of an extreme emotion. And so you can also get excited in the opposite direction, like you're overly excited about a project that maybe isn't ready to launch, or you're overly excited about a relationship that isn't quite ready to go to the next level. So we want to just get back up a little bit and say, okay, where do I need to nurture things? You know, this could be that example that maybe you do want to take a romantic relationship to the next level, but your partner's not quite ready for that. They need a little more space and time. They're not quite sure what they're working through, some things, releasing some things. So you might have to just really nurture the relationship and be really patient and be objective about it and say, you know, if I was in my partner's shoes, how would I feel about that? What would come up for me? And how much time maybe I would need, and try to be compassionate and really nurture that there. I think that's one of the reasons. So bringing up nurturing relationships and holding space for that and finding time to do that for you and a loved one or you and a project. So try to be objective if you can about it. They do want you to know that very soon you're going to be asked to be very diplomatic with something. You're going to have to speak your mind with confidence. There is something that if you are balanced with your mental state and your emotional state, you will be able to make that objective decision. You will be able to stand in your beliefs, and that is going to be called upon. You are going to be called upon to be seen as professional and impartial and be able to say the things that need to be said in a diplomatic way, in a balanced and fair way. So take the time right now that you're hearing these messages to see where do I need to be objective with my decision making, and then prepare yourself. Maybe journal about it, write down your bullet points. That's a things I will do too. If I know I have a difficult conversation that I need to have with a colleague or a friend or a loved one, a lot of times I'll just jot down like the 3 things I need to get across. And it doesn't have to come across in that exact way. Just organizing it, I find that when I go into the conversation, I feel more prepared. And I also feel like all of a sudden the words just come out in a more loving and compassionate way, because my mind has already done the list making and my heart's now ready to speak. So I can then speak from the heart more because that list has been made and I don't feel all over the place. I don't feel caught off guard by the way the conversation goes. I try to take deep breaths and I think to myself, okay, we've talked about this point. I still have 2 more points I need to bring up before we wrap up this conversation. And you're taking that professional diplomatic approach. So that's coming up for you very soon. So grab that journal and start writing down the things that might need some objective decision making around it and how you might want to handle it. But you are going to get a lot of personal power from quiet time alone in self-discovery before you're making these decisions. So I have another pocket affirmation for you to help you activate this guidance and step into your personal power. And this one kind of makes me giggle when I think about it, but it came to me for this guidance, and it is, I love spending time with me. Doesn't that sound a little silly when I say it out loud? But write that in the comments below. And of course, I'm not saying that you love spending time with Devon. I'm saying I want you to say, I love spending time with me, myself, and I, right? We want to really empower ourselves that is a luxury to go into self-discovery, to really get clear on what our heart is trying to tell us. Do a brain dump on a journal page in your journal and just write down all the things your brain is telling you, and then take some deep breaths and then ask your heart, what does your heart want? So I love spending time with me is the affirmation I'm asking you to use to really empower yourself and trust that you will get the guidance you need for those objective decisions you need to make, for those bullet points that you need to speak about professionally coming up soon for you. And again, if this is a romantic relationship, you're like, well, what does professionalism have to do with it? It's more just taking that balanced approach to a relationship and not allowing things to escalate into a yelling match. I mean, the truth of the matter is, once the other person is on the defense, the conversation's pretty much over anyways, at least temporarily, because if they're in a defensive mode and you're not able to get them out of that defense mode, you're not being productive. Now, there are ways to get people out of the defense mode and continue the conversation, but it might be you that has to do it. You might have to be the mediator in that, be the one that's grounding the situation and not allowing it to escalate. So keep that in mind too. Because they're talking a lot about the people around you right now and how it's going to be important you release any harsh judgments of those around you, draw on that inner strength to be that diplomat, and allow forgiveness and compassion to come into that. So if you feel very wronged by somebody, if you feel very challenged to have conversations with those around you, try to focus on not getting into a place of harsh judgment. Again, maybe putting yourself in the other person's shoes, or if that's too hard to do, just take that 30,000 foot perspective the angels do. The angels love all of us. They want success for all of us. And ultimately you do too. Your heart wants that. So if you can try to take that higher approach and try not to be too judgmental about what's going on. Maybe you don't have all the information. Just try to release it, and that's going to be really positive for you going forward. Now, that is one thing that they're bringing up too is, again, remembering we are trusting that things are getting better, that we are going to come to the end of this difficult situation that we have been dealing with. So if you trust that fortune is on your side, you're going to all of a sudden see things leap forward quickly. But you have to be in that right frame of mind, be grounded in that approach. In fact, what are your favorite things? I'd love to hear in the comments below. What are your favorite things to do to ground? Do you like to go out in the grass in bare feet and walk around in bare feet? Do you like to go for walks? Do you like to go get into water, take a shower, take a bath? Journal. Of course, I journal a lot to ground. I like to just simply put my feet on the ground like this. If I'm in the middle of a conversation, I'll just kind of really feel my feet on the ground and focus on that. So what is your favorite way to ground? That might be what you are being asked to do as you're having some of these conversations. But do trust that things are working out for you. Really stay in that positive mindset. And ultimately, before we get to these final messages here, I have one more pocket affirmation for you to help you activate this guidance. And if you are staying in that mindset, it will really help you. So here's the final pocket affirmation I have for you today to write below this video. I am open to divine inspiration. I am open to divine inspiration. Put that in the comments below to activate this guidance. Use it in that self-discovery when you're saying, I love spending time with me. I am open to divine inspiration. Allow that to come in, and you will realize the things that you need to make a decision about, things that you need to clear away, things you need to speak your mind about. And these new ideas coming in for you are going to really encourage you through this. So if you just feel like, gosh, this has just been such a challenge to get started with this. Every time I think it's moving forward, it's been a challenge. It's because there's some truth you need to see there. There's some decision you need to make around that. So allow that brilliant new inspiration to come in for you. Open up to it, and you will find that the solutions come in for you and help you stay positive so you can speak your mind in a professional, diplomatic manner. Thank you for being here. And remember, take time every day to connect with the angels.